This is the second Black Widow I've owned, and it is the second Black Widow I'm getting rid of. My first one was the Eaton. Eaton? I don't know. Probably not going to do that here. My name is Mr. X, this is the Extreme Collection, and today we're doing an emergency review on this Sideshow Collectibles Black Widow premium format, which really means 1/4 scale, but it's a fancy way of saying it. Like, it's not a used car salesman, it's a certified pre-owned sales consultant. But why is this an emergency sale? Well, I'm out of money and I need more. No, that's not true. Or is it? Actually, I'm planning on getting rid of my Avengers collection someday. And a fellow collector posted, hey, I'm looking for this piece. And I was like, you know what? Might as well sell it to him at my cost. Everybody's happy. I didn't lose money and I got to enjoy this statue for a couple years and get a preemptive start. So that's how it went down. Now we're going to review her using the traditional extreme scale right here. It's a 1 through 5 scale. T is 1. X is 5. And we're going to do that in a number of categories. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel or you just haven't done it yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I know it sounds like begging.
Please, please, give me, I need, give me.
So we're going to go ahead and review her. Tomorrow I got to find her box for the collector who purchased it and then ship her out the next day. And you know, as I was taking pictures of her for him, I'm kind of sad because it's kind of a cool piece I haven't spent a lot of time looking at. Now, Sideshow Collectibles made and distributed these. They made 2,250, kind of a weird number, but they made two different versions. One is a collector's version, which is what I have. There's 1,500 of these. And then one is the exclusive, that there are 750. The difference is this exclusive comes with a second portrait right here. And the reason I didn't get the exclusive is it was all sold out, and I like the collector's head just as much, so it made sense. She retailed right between $560 and $575, plus traditional shipping. Very small box. And it's been so long, I don't remember how many pieces she's in, but I will probably figure that out tomorrow night when I'm boxing her back up. So if you really want to know that, too bad. You're going to stay up all night wondering how many pieces is Black Widow in. Now, you'll see this is Black Widow. Black Widow is a Marvel superhero who has heightened superhuman ability as far as combat, and she's kind of ruthless. That's why she's known as Black Widow. Black Widows traditionally eat their mates, which is kind of some false story, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not legends. That's the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, if you just said it out loud, I couldn't hear you. But so she's known for being ruthless, from Russia. And recently, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, she was portrayed by the unbelievably gorgeous Scarlett Johansson, who is, wow. Wow. She's one of those girls that, you know, it's funny. I remember seeing pictures of her because we went to the same school. No, we didn't, but that'd be cool, huh? Pictures of her as young, and she was, I don't want to say ugly duckling because some people get mad at me, but she was an ugly duckling, and people are already mad at me anyway. But she was portrayed by Scarlett Johansson, and this is the comic book version, or Sideshow's interpretation of Black Widow. However, it definitely ties into Avengers because as you see on the base, she is actually fighting Ultron. Let's get the dimensions really quick. Oh yeah, I was measuring something down here. She's approximately 8 inches wide on the base, but the gun makes it a little bit wider. And then the depth on the statue is probably about 9 inches where Ultron is. She is approximately 18.5 inches with the base. Without the base, she's about 16 3/4. And then with the gun, I didn't even think about that, she goes up to 23.5 inches. So let's dive into the first thing, and the first thing is concept. When we talk about concept, is it accurate? Is it cool? What's going on? Does it make sense? So as I said, really quick actually before we dive into this, she is actually made to pair with another piece. And it's a piece I used to have, but I actually gave away in a giveaway. And that is this right here, the Captain America premium format by Daniel Bell. Obviously she goes with him because they're both key players to the Avengers and they have similar bases. But now let's dive in hers. So the base is kind of a, what I would think of as a base, When I mean base, I mean like headquarters where maybe the Avengers hang out, or maybe a robotic factory, and you see Ultron or one of Ultron's minions slumped over onto the side, so she's defeated it. There is actually a symbol on the back, and I can't remember if it's Hydra or Avengers. It's kind of hard to see by Ultron's body. And there's pieces of him left. And he has smoke that is optional rising out of the head while she's standing on him in a museum pose. Museum means she wants to take a picture. She's definitely full out picture. And you know, maybe she's one of those selfie girls that takes pictures all the time right after she destroys a Ultron bot. And she's sitting there with 2 guns. She's a big marksman. Very sexy, very sultry. The traditional Black Widow costume. Her hair kind of flowing in the wind a little bit. Beautiful. It's an awesome, awesome piece, and the concept pairs really well with Captain America. And I think I actually have their War Machine. Here's a picture of that. Their War Machine actually pairs with this as well because it has a similar base, I think. And I may have been wrong because I'll look at that picture later. So concept-wise, I like it a lot. I like the fact it pairs with other Sideshow Avenger pieces. I like the fact it's a semi-diorama. Especially for a decently affordable price for a 1/4 scale. I like that it showcases her powers and her strength, and she's very badass, and still that sexiness that you see. And I'm not a big, you know, sexy statue guy. I'm a big sexy guy. It's been a weird day. It's been a fun day, because it hasn't been bad. But, so I think concept's great. I think they knocked it out of the park. I'm going to give the concept a W, a 4 out of 5. It's a rail. The only reason I'm not giving it an X is it didn't like blow me away like, oh, that's the most amazing thing. So it's definitely a great concept. Well done on that Sideshow. Next, we talk about design. And with design here, I think there's a lot of pros. Let me check one thing. Okay, yes, there are a lot of pros. Not pros. Pros. But design, we talk about, did it go well together? Is there a lot of switch outs? Are there a lot of display options? Is the displayability good? A couple things I'm going to talk about first. First, I like the fact that these smoke pieces are optional. You can pull them out or they can just display as they are. And you'll see some close-ups when we look at paint and sculpt. I like the fact that her portrait, the way they did it, is the seam line is on the part of her uniform that turns into another part of the uniform. What's the word I'm looking for? The seam line is on the seam of her uniform. That's what I'm looking for. Not seam, seam. So that was smart. I also think it's fantastic that it is such a small base, because what do we say about space? That is the enemy of us collectors, sometimes more so than finances. So that is awesome. Where I had her with my Avengers, I had these Avengers with these giant bases, and she could slip right in there. She said that. So I think the design's great. I think they did an awesome job. The one negative, and it's not terribly negative, is the Ultron bot. You can't really see his face. I was trying to take pictures for you guys for the paint and sculpt, and it's facing down. So what? So maybe if they flipped it over the other way, I can't remember if the Captain was like that or not. Maybe another switch out where she was holding a different type of weapon. But otherwise, so I think design's a rail as well, a 4 out of 5. Really nicely done. As usual with paint and sculpt, we will start at the bottom and move to the top, and then at the end we'll rate them both separately or possibly together if they're the same rating. Let's look at this base. First, the sides of it has these rivets drilled in. Again, really gives you the headquarter base type feel to it. They look good, a lot of detail. The paint has some green and blacks and silvers and metallic in there. More so metallic on the top here. I really like the top of the base. There's some vents, and it just looks really cool. A lot of detail, especially for a small base, went into this. They did a great job with the colorization. And then what I like about the Ultron, the paint is a completely different silver, and he's not too shiny, not too metallic. And I think that was smart, using kind of this matte gray / silver to him. And they did a great job on the sculpt of this as well. I like the fact that he's very robotic. There's no mistake who it is. I'm really kind of sad I just sold this statue. Here's the smoke. The smoke looks okay. I'd rather display it with than without. They could have used a little bit more clear resin effect. I understand why they went non-white and kind of darker. But it is cool, you can display it either or. Look at her costume, and her costume has a lot of the same stuff. So there is this shiny matte black part, and then there's this texturized line part in different places, and it looks awesome. It's doing a great job, hugging her really tight, no creases. There are a few around her hips, but that's about it. And it's almost like this layered body armor we're especially going to see when we get to the back. And I'm kind of just jumping all over here on her costume, showing you guys some different pics because it looks great. A lot of times when you're having a statue that's the majority of it is black, you run a big risk. But I think the way the costume was sculpted, it takes away from that risk. Not only the variations from the texture to the non-texture, but a few of the folds around her waist, and then the segments, the different segments in her costume. And let's look at her ass. Look at that booty. I like smaller asses, so this one really isn't for me. No, I don't like them smaller than 1/4, but if you see a few of the creases there. Check out her belt. So around her belt, assumably those are those little electrocuting pucks that she throws out. Pretty cool, or they could just be fancy-ness on her belt. And below that, her belt actually has a different texturized surface that the rest of them do. I don't know if you can see it well or not. But then she has the classic Black Widow diamond, not diamond, but Black Widow symbol. Again, great texture all over. And then the shiny black matte contrasts very differently. Here's her back that I was talking about, that it really looks like body armor. Pretty cool. Her shoulder pads have the Black Widow symbol on it. A little bit different red color than on her belt, and I like that. For so much black, it varies it up. Then check around her wrists. I assume that's ammo, or those are maybe her electrocuting bracelets. Look very cool. Not as clear, crisp sculpt in those as the rest of it. Gloves look fantastic. Here's her guns, some close-ups of her guns. More black on black, but they added some silver and a few other colors in there, a little bit of fade. I think that was smart. Not as shiny as the flat black on her costume. Varies it a little bit. And now let's move to her portrait. And honestly, I'm not saying her portrait's bad, but I think it's the worst part of the statue. I think, yeah, let's just take a look here. First, her hair. Her hair looks okay. It looks good, actually. I think there could have been a little bit more definition where it's all bunched together. And this is just her collector's portrait. I've never seen the exclusive one where it is the longer hair. Now, as you look at her portrait, I think it's more the paint that I'm not digging than the sculpt. I think the sculpt's done really well. Very feminine features, but kind of this serious badass attitude. I think what I don't like on the paint, when I'm looking at the paint, there's too much of it. There's too much paint. And what I mean by that is the reds are too red. It looks like a doll. It doesn't look like a human, where some of the other Sideshow portraits I've seen look more human-like, where this definitely looks cartoony, like a doll, but it's still very well done. So the paint's very clean, and it's possible I just don't like the head sculpt because I don't like it. That happens sometimes. So I'm really surprised that I think I'm going to give the paint and sculpt W's. I think they're worth it. They're really good, especially for the affordability of this, which slightly does affect it. Someone suggested you know what? Let's add a new category right now. Boom, record. Not affordability. What should we call this? Put it in the comments below what you think we should call this new category. Value for money, whatever that is. But for now, it's value for money. I think her value for money is an X. Especially when you think about the fact it's 1/4 scale. It's done very well of a popular character. Kind of a little Dio going on in there. It's not always about size, despite what my wife keeps telling me that it is. So overall, I think she's a Rail statue. She's not a Grail. I don't think she'll ever be a Grail because they made 2,000 of her. Of course, Thanos on throne is sometimes a grail, but I really like this statue. If I was staying with Avengers, she's definitely the Black Widow to have, and not just because there's not many other options out there. But very cool piece. Congratulations to the new collector, who may or may not have her already, depending on when I air this. But I hope he enjoys this, because I'm glad I'm getting rid of it, though, because I hadn't looked at her in over a year, so it's only just that someone who can enjoy her a little bit more, because she does deserve to be enjoyed in a normal way, you sickos. All right, I'm done. How's that for a sign off?